All right. I think we are going. We should be live. Welcome to the Ssoups channel. Welcome to the podcast. Or not podcast, the press conference reaction. And this press conference has gone horribly so far. I rushed to get this out, tried to get home ASAP, and I would like to give a shout out to a couple guys, the Bring the Juice podcast, or the Bring the Juice channel. They're also doing this, and they are going crazy right now with the viewers. So I thought, hey, why not? Why not have my own? So, hey, here we are. We're doing this. I'm pretty sure everything is set up and everything is working. I'll just go check real quick. Because so far this has been a complete disaster. I think the only place that you can actually, see anything, right now, it is a complete and utter disaster. It's just, it's horrible, dude. It's just not working. I think the only place you can see it is Twitter. I'll have to check the Colts Twitter to see, because that's what I'm hearing, is that it's only working on Twitter. Let me see. It appears so, yeah. Okay. It is on Twitter. Let me pull this up real quick. Well, I'll make sure to get it so you guys can actually see.
All right, let's see this. Get everyone
Oh, here we go.
situated.
I'm gonna try and be quiet during this. Just listen.
Mr. Irsay, go ahead and open up. Are you ready?
Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming. We certainly are excited about going forward with our future. First and foremost,
Try to adjust this as best I can.
just a big thank you to Frank Reich. He's someone that's very close to the organization, to my family, to myself. I know to Chris and to Jeff, everyone in our organization. So it's a very difficult and tough day, because I told Frank, I was hoping, Chris and him and I, we were going to grab that Lombardi trophy together someday and have that thing and celebrate. But this is, this league is tough and things change. And he's a pro and he understands. He understands this league and this business. And it was a difficult decision to make, made with great thought.
Tell me if you guys can't hear it.
That gets cultivated over many.
Trying to do my
months
best to,
and, years, actually.
so you guys can see.
Where you're integrating your thinking into understanding when a time is right and when it isn't.
I think
because it's an intuitive thing.
I think we're
There's
good.
no
Hold on.
rule book that tells you now you should make a change, now you shouldn't. It's something for being in the league 52 years. It's intuitive. I've been thankful. I've never hired a losing head coach in my life. The last interim head coach I hired became a Super Bowl winning coach, Bruce Arians. So I've been fortunate and blessed on the path of bringing in coaches, whether they're interim or head coach. And I know Chris and I, as we talked and really met Sunday night face to face in a difficult conversation. We had a lot of dialogue back and forth. There was a lot of grinding, a lot of really drilling down in and really wanting to get things right. And I know that we did. Expectations are high here. Look, we're the fourth winningest franchise in the league since 2000. All right, that means in the upper quartile of winners, we're in the top quartile of that upper quartile. That's rare air. and we've earned being there. And what we've accomplished speaks for itself. I don't have to crunch numbers to say what we've accomplished. But I told Frank that expectations are high. He was a winning head coach. Less than half the league, 18 teams, including Pittsburgh, haven't had a winning season, been in the playoffs 2 out of 4 years, and won a playoff game. So if anyone wants to kind of diminish anything that Coach did, you'd be wrong, because your opinion really doesn't matter. What matters is the facts. We live with those facts. Either you win or you lose. The numbers don't lie, as we always say in the locker room. You are who you are. You are what your record is. But it was time, and I am very excited to have, as Chris is, to have Jeff here and next to me as the interim head coach. Just couldn't be more thrilled about having him here. And yes, he is fully experienced enough. Yes, he is fully capable. He's extremely smart. He's extremely competitive. He understands the game. He's a guy, and he probably won't mind me telling this story. It's the night before the Super Bowl. We're playing the Bears, and you guys knew Howard Mudd. So Jeff meets with the offensive line, sees Howard, and says, "Howard, we don't want to zone block them. We're better than that. We can man block them." And Howard looks at him, and says, "Well, Jeff, who am I to disagree with you? You're one of my greatest players ever. We'll man block them. The rest is history." That goes on and on with this guy. Hey, we can't block Trevor Price against Denver. We can't block him. Jeff said, "I can block him. We'll move him to guard for one game." He blocked him. You want to bet against this guy? Put your money down, people. Love to see it. Love to see it. Because I know what he's about, and so does Chris. And yes, there's a maturation curve. Shula was 32 years old. He had 3 nondescript years with the Detroit Lions before he took over the reins in 1963. No, the game is not different. We don't build rockets to go to Mars. We're not nuclear scientists. That is none of our jobs here. It's a very simple jobs that we do here. We cultivate winning cultures. We cultivate toughness. We live by our integrity about the people that we are, and we don't expect anything more than we expect from ourselves. I'm not going to ask anyone to do something I haven't done, all right? And neither is him, and neither is him. I mean, that's the way we operate. And so I know who we are. I know who we're going, where we're going, and I couldn't be more thrilled to be here tonight. Yes, it's an interim head coaching job. It lines up with the Rooney Rule. At the end of the season, there will be a full process of reviewing permanent head coach, which we will have an interview process for and go from there.
My only issue with this thing is that it's in one headphone. I don't know why, but I can only hear it in my left ear. So
I'm
like,
thinking about is the Raiders. That's all.
and it's kind of annoying. I'm not even going to lie to
I've been working for is just getting ready for the Raiders. How we're going to deal with that. But again, couldn't be more excited. And we will. I'll open it up for questions. Obviously, you'll have some for Chris and Jeff or me, and please fire away.
Jim, this move is unprecedented in modern football. We all know what Jeff means to the city and to the team, but no coaching in college, no coaching in the NFL. How did you get to this point where you offered him the job, and did you offer the interim role to anybody else?
It's an intuitive decision. When I hired Tony Dungy, it was done very methodical. You operate like the CIA. It's very analytical. It's very unemotional. It's very, very methodical, with in-depth experience and knowledge, and trying to get the feeling for what's right. Then I wanted a winning coach, a winning playoff coach, a winning coach that was proven, to come in with our franchise. Now, I'm glad he doesn't have any NFL experience. I'm glad he hasn't learned the fear that's in this league. That's because it's tough for all our coaches. They're afraid. They go to analytics, and it gets difficult. I mean, he doesn't have all that. He doesn't have that fear, and there was no other candidate. We were fortunate that he was available, and he has tons of experience. He knows this game inside and out with relationships with coaches and players, and has been a consultant for us for several years, a paid consultant, informing Chris and I and other people in the organization, his opinions. So to me, I know people can, look out and see it and ask that question, but that doesn't surprise me. I understand. I don't know how to make sausage. I don't know what goes into sausage, but I do know how to build a football team because I've been around for 52 years, and from all the people from Paul Brown to Don Shula to sitting with Ted Marchibroda and understanding what you do during a week for preparation, I understand that, and I understand that he's fully capable of doing this, and more than capable, and that no, it wasn't offered to anyone else, and I don't know, Chris and I, what we would have done if anything if he wasn't available and willing. So that's kind of how it came together.
Can you clarify, is this?
Damn.
Do you mean for this to be?
Really, there was no one.
Well, there's no talk of permanence at this point, because that's, right now it's an
Damn,
interim
nobody wants this
head coaching
job.
position,
Oh,
and
gosh.
when the season ends, we will have an
And credit to Jim, he seems pretty
we'll see
confident in
who
Jeff
goes,
Saturday, and he says, and he
obviously,
pretty much doesn't give a shit about
he
his
is one of
his
the
coaching
candidates that should
experience.
be a very promising candidate to be the long-term head coach.
I mean, at least he's telling you. I'll take it.
Process.
Jim, what handles play call?
I'm not sure about that, but
In 27 years,
hey, he should know more than me, and I hope he's right. I really do.
One of the things that have led up to this, is that a reflection of your patience?
I'm sorry if you guys can only hear the audio
Well,
of
things
the stream
change,
in one headphone.
and
I can too. I don't know why it's like that.
quarterback retire,
I can only hear it on my left ear for some reason.
So things change.
It was disaster
change
trying to
the
get
way
this
you
up,
move
though.
out to
It's
try
disaster.
to deal with each
Took
situation.
forever to get the
And,
live stream started.
You'd never like to make a change, much less during the season. It's not ideal, but and Chris and I, in talking, we saw things collapse, and I've seen things go from bad to worse, and I thought it was time and it was necessary to make the change, as of this morning.
This move technically, I mean, it fits the running rule for right now, but the perception around the league that's come out is that this is the kind of opportunity that's gone to white coaches and not to black coaches. Is that a problem, given what as much attention as that's been placed on this?
No, it's not. I don't, again, Tony Dungy, being in the Hall of Fame as the first African-American coach and being followed by Jim Caldwell. And I don't, when Tony took a leave of absence for a very unfortunate family situation, Jim Caldwell was our interim head coach. So it was interim, just like this is. So there is no problem of perception, except some of you guys make a problem of perception, but you need hits, so you got to do it. I understand. I do the same thing. I was a broadcast journalism major too. So I mean, look at it, it's something where there's always going to be a lot, creative and a lot of words said, and I don't know. You guys ever held accountable to your editors bringing you in and say, "Well, you wrote that stuff. It was all wrong. You're fired." We get held accountable, that's for sure.
Imagine being a journalist and getting shit on like this. Holy fuck.
We're following the.
Oh my gosh, you just shit all over these journalists, man.
And I really look.
Jesus Christ.
Interview process at the end of the season.
Chris Ballard does the same thing. He hates media. Most of the people do.
Yeah, I haven't made a decision yet, but I've interviewed guys, and I'm gonna continue to interview guys on the staff and going through that. And yeah, I'll decide something this evening. But it's
Finally, we got to hear from
a
Jeff.
fire hydrant a little bit, so we're just we're trying.
I wanted to hear what Jeff. I really
get this done, and
just want to hear what Jeff has to say
I'll
about
continue
this.
that part.
I want to
We'll
hear
have a
what his
decision.
plans are.
I've met with the offensive staff. I haven't had a chance to meet with the defensive staff, but I met with the entire staff and then already a few guys, and I'll continue that through the night and come to a conclusion, and we'll roll from there. Listen, the great part about this, and I'll just say this, is there are fantastic coaches on this staff and men who have done this a long time. There's former head coaches, but there are guys in that offensive room who have called a lot of games and a lot of plays, and there's a lot of men who have put a lot of time into this. So I have no fear. I will pick the right guy, and we will ride with it. So yeah, I'm excited about the opportunity. I'm just trying to get a grasp of what their what their needs would be for them and how I can support them in doing that, and we'll make a move.
What was your reaction when you got the call from Mr. Irsay that you're going to be running this
Yeah,
team?
shocked would be an understatement, right? Shocked would be an understatement. So, yeah, we had the conversation, and it escalated quickly. He asked me, my wife Karen, and he said, hey, will you go have a conversation with your wife and make sure that she's on board? And my son Josh still lives with us at home, and you have that conversation. And he told me he was going to meet with Chris about it, and
Chris and I knew she's the most important woman.
That's exactly right.
Thank you, Karen.
And so we had the conversation. We talked about.
Hey, Mr. 182, what's up, man?
And then as the day progressed,
Listening to our new head coach.
we finally came to a conclusion. But it was.
I haven't seen you in a while, dude.
It was.
Hope you're doing well.
A 12-hour whirlwind.
Oh, I've seen your videos. I know you're doing a lot better. That's good.
Than I do. So it was late. It was a late call. I mean, it was. And like I said, we had those conversations. I spoke to Heath, and I spoke to Chris, and both for a good length of time, and just had real come to
that's good.
Come to Jesus conversations. What do you think? And listen, if you think I was surprised I'm gonna get asked, I haven't been a coach. I wouldn't. That'd be silly, right? So I knew going in what the expectation was going to be, the questions that were going to be asked, and I feel fully capable, excited about the opportunity. 8 games to, listen, here's a great part about my career. I came in, nobody expected anything. I'm here, nobody expects anything. If it goes well, hopefully it'll go extremely well. But I have no preconceived notion that I'm going to be some spectacular anything. I know I got to work hard, and I'm auditioning not only for this one, but for 31 others, just like everybody else in this game. And make no mistake, man, the job is.
This is a good mindset to have.
I know that's what I'm here to
For
do.
somebody who's never done this before, this is a good mindset to have.
In that locker
I like
room,
it.
How can I arm those coaches to be the best they can be? Because again, I believe in them. I wouldn't be here if I didn't, and that was made clear to both Jim and Chris. If I didn't believe in the guys in the room, if I didn't believe in the guys in that locker room,
Jim Irsay has been weird during this, though. He just basically insulted journalists the whole time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
If you could put your hat on as being a TV analyst,
Sure.
looking at the Jeff Saturday getting this job, what would your take be in studio on a move like this?
Yeah, I'd be shocked as well, and probably the same question you asked. And I'll be frank. I asked Mr. Irsay, what's your, tell me why I am a candidate you would consider in any role to do this. And listen, I've been consulting here for a couple years with Frank and Chris, and
I mean, it appears to be a pretty easy one,
a
Jeff.
bunch of different people.
You played here
I've
before.
met with
We need
coaches around the
somebody.
NFL and college.
Journalists do anything as long as they get the big bucks.
I felt very prepared. I tell you, when Peyton retired,
They deserve it for the question he asked,
I spent some
basically.
time with John
Oh.
Lynch, and I remember John.
They're always gonna
was
ask
move
stuff
over
like
to
that,
the-
especially because of what's happened.
And he told me that,
With like Brian
over 5 or 6
Flores
years,
and
he
stuff.
had been going
Those
through
questions
the
are always going to be
process
asked.
If I were to put a team together, what
You're just
would
gonna
I
have to
do?
deal. I mean, that's what Finger said. You have to deal with it. I do think journalists do go a little too far
Who I think the
sometimes,
best OCs are, who the best
and they
DCs
try
are,
and
who
assume
great
things.
who are people you'd want in your
And
building.
I don't think it's necessarily their fault,
Exercises. I felt
actually, because they have to
when I
meet these
asked him,
insane
he said,
quotas
"Listen, you're
sometimes.
leadership, right? I don't
So they
like to
do
be
bad
an
things
alpha
to meet
just
those
the smartest
quotas
guy
so
in
they
the
keep their
room, right?
jobs.
I'm here to make
It's
the
the
guys
editors
who
who
are really smart even
encourage
better.
them
What
to
can I give
do
them?
bad stuff and ask
I've been
dangerous
Hall
questions
of
like that.
Famers whether that be player, coach, general manager. I've seen great leadership at its
It's the
pinnacle.
people at the top who've
And I've learned
almost
a lot.
forced him to
I've
ask
learned
these
a lot.
dangerous
I
questions to
continue
get
try
clicks.
grow as a leader, but I think that's probably my
So I don't.
strongest quality, is
I think they
come
should
in,
take most of the blame for
don't
the
shy away from it.
BS.
And, excited about it, and that's my passion, and I love it. Right, and football just so happens to fit that mold. But that's what I love. When I can do the two things I love, I can lead a group of men and coach football. Man, I ain't gonna say no to that.
Jeff, have you met with the team? Have you met with the team yet?
Ballard's like,
Chris, you're a very
calm
mature
down.
person.
Stop.
This is very, very, very
One at a time, children.
What are your thoughts on this? What was your first reaction to the idea? Just can you elaborate?
Well, after the game yesterday, Mr. Irsay and I visited, and it was spirited, like they can be, because we're both passionate about what we do. And then last night when I arrived back in Indy, we talked about Jeff. Now understand, we've tried to hire Jeff a couple times. We tried to hire him in 2019 as the offensive line coach, and we tried to hire him again, this year. Just didn't work out. The timing didn't work out. So, and I've spent a lot of time with Jeff over, like, I have a few of the ex-players here, and it doesn't take long to figure out that he's got real leadership in him. Real special.
Oh yeah, I know
in
that.
that regard.
I watched him play. I know he is.
For this aim game stretch and where we're at, we thought he was going to be a really good fit for us.
Please shut up, dog. We trying to listen.
Will Chris be a part of that? Do you expect him to be back?
Yeah. How about you just go find another stream?
There's no
I'm answering
question
people's
about
questions in
that.
the chat, bro.
Honestly, it's not really even in the consciousness of my mind about that sort of thing. I just know, look at, Chris was highly sought after when he came here. It was a great indication of this organization that he wanted to come here because he could have gone anywhere he wanted. He's been executive the year before, and you guys can try to diminish him all you want, but that's just your words. They have no substance to it because there's no truth in it. I mean, the guy's a winner, and he's been immensely successful. No one's perfect in this game. We all lose a lot in this league. You know how many shots Michael Jordan's missed? You know how many games Michael Jordan's lost? I mean, that's in this league. It's tough, and sometimes you don't understand how fortunate you are when you're around success because you think that's the norm, but it's not. And he fits right into that culture. Look at, I was blessed enough. My first hire was Hall of Fame general manager.
No, Mr. 22, you don't have to block him. He's
Been
probably gone.
I'm blessed to have been able to do it. But
It's my stream.
those kind of things led to someone like this wanting to come in.
I am
Because
trying
Bill
to shut up,
Polian's
though.
here, and Bill Polian's talking to Chris before he comes and goes, yeah, this is a place to come. And it's a tribute to this town, to this city, to what we're about as a family and as an organization. So we're fortunate to have him, and we're fortunate to have him. These things don't always work out in our favor, and we know that things have drifted, and sometimes that happens in this game. I mean, honest to God, not only is Frank an outstanding character, man, he's a great coach. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's obvious.
Your stream, your thoughts. Fuck anyone who says diff.
In the laundry
Yep. If people don't like it, you don't have to watch. I mean,
it just
Bring the Juice has a good
doesn't
channel. I
add
doubt
up
they're
when
saying
you
much
look
and
at
letting
this
it roll. So
And sometimes, intuitively,
they have a really good channel. They're cool
timing-wise,
guys. If you want to watch them,
you look
you just
into
go and
this
watch it on
like
Twitter if you don't want to hear any
lightning
reaction.
in the bottle with the right group of people, and so I
Simple.
think from my perspective, we're fortunate to have Chris. I think Chris and Frank both take responsibility for shortcomings, and they shouldn't, in my opinion, because everyone's going to have shortcomings. Look at it; they're way above the curve, and
Yeah, I agree.
Bill
It's not
Polian
just
got
on
fired,
Frank. He's right.
Twice, basically. So, it's the way it rolls in this league. but you try to get the right mixture going at the right time. And
Their audio is fucking
we're
up.
fortunate to have this guy, and
It still is. I can only hear it in my left ear. The right, my right.
you know, it's about
It's
winning.
not my headphones.
It's not only when you
It's just
don't
the
win,
audio
it's
from the
how
thing. It's
you-
really annoying.
how you lose. You know, there's different ways to lose.
And I'm sorry it's
And-
annoying for you.
there- you
Maybe
know,
somebody
there-
figured out how to
there's-
fix it. I don't know how to fix it.
There's a lot.
I don't wanna
to
miss
consider,
anything.
You know, before we'd ever make a change like this, I too much for me to even you know, to be able to convey to you, because that's how much thought process goes into it.
Chris, where you see your role in this season to this point has been a disappointment, and were you on board with the benching of Matt Ryan and the firing of Frank?
Yeah. So I think you know me well enough, all of you. Like I don't sit here and act like I don't share some of the blame. Damn right I do. But I also know that we got 8 games left, and I'm not just ready to fire the towel in like everybody else. I mean, the world's going to fire the towel in on us. We're not throwing in the towel. I talked to the team today, talked to the coaches, visited with Jeff, and we'll move forward. Frank, Mr. Irsay, and I visited about the Matt decision. You know, that was all of us together. What was the other one?
The decision to fire Frank.
Yeah, Mr. Irsay and I had a long talk, you know, here over the last, 12 hours, late last night, and when we decided to move forward, that's what we did. And I talked to Frank, this morning. Mr. Irsay, talked to Frank, and then I talked to the team.
Thanks for
and then I
streaming.
talked
You're
to the
welcome,
coaching
Sean.
staff. Not easy, especially with Frank and I's relationship. And it's one
Thanks for
where,
watching.
look, we both know that we haven't been perfect by any stretch. And, it was a hard day. It was a hard morning.
Chris, you do have 8 games left, but, I mean, this team looks as far away as it has ever looked in your tenure.
Yeah,
What is going on?
That's a tough question.
I sure did. Defensively, I would tell you we're playing pretty good football.
Yeah.
Offensively is where we gotta make some hay. We've not played as well up front as we need to play, and I think you all know as y'all have been kicking the shit out of me for years for not drafting wideouts, and all of a sudden I look up and we're underperforming on the offensive line right now, and that's got to take another. That's got to improve. That has to improve, and then the turnovers during the year. That you just look at it. We're turning the ball over, and we're turning it over inside our 50. I think we had 9 inside the 38, 11 inside the 50. You can't win games turning the football over in this league. 2 things: you can't win when you don't block, and when you turn it over. It makes it hard.
Jim, when was the first time you thought about calling Jeff for the interim head coaching job?
Really,
I need to be installed fast. Stupid questions.
really last night, I mean, of actually, picking up the phone and calling him, in terms of, talking to him,
Yeah.
and Chris
Depends on the question.
and saying, hey,
If they're accusing you of something, then yeah, probably. But if they just look at the stats and ask, why is it like this? I think that's a
Jeff's
pretty
man,
simple
let's talk
question.
this thing through. And we went over. It was, there was little sleep. I mean, it was hours and hours. Last night after the game and this morning. And
Jim looks like he's realizing Chris may have lost his touch.
everything through, and you look at the upside and downside.
No, I disagree with a lot of Colts fans about Chris. He is really good at drafting. He has a very, very good record when it comes to players.
So,
He's drafted some very, very
Chris
talented
knows
players.
as general manager and as owner, you keep names in your pocket. I mean,
His
and you keep
structuring a roster,
but you're always
maybe not the best as we've seen, but
for anything to happen.
when it comes to drafting,
Own coaching staff,
everybody's going to
you
make
know who the
a
best
mistake. You're not going to
coaches
get a
are,
great
who has
draft
the
pick
best chance of
every
being
single
having
round.
Upside in the long term, upside in the short term.
Things happen.
In the league, in
He's been
college,
pretty good.
and you just you just have to, and I think Chris and I, believe me, it was a debate society. I mean, going back and forth, and we both, we try to, convince each other, and we can take the other side and argue the same. I mean,
He's
we're
drunk.
all
Which
trying
one?
to strive for the right thing. I mean, a lot of times people think,
Chris
well,
or-
you just have to. I'm an
Chris or Jim?
open-minded person. I stay open-minded until I have to. I am not closing my mind. Look at,
That drink he has, the little did we know that's vodka in there. That ain't water.
I know I'm right.
Irsay.
Never. I mean,
Yeah, it's vodka in there, bro.
You're always listening and always wondering, and always checking your motives, checking your virtues, checking everything that goes into that decision, because really, you're just responsible for, giving your team the best chance to win, But I'm not sending a fighter in the ring I love, when I think that it's time, and let him get pummeled. No.
Oh, okay. That was a little hard to follow. I might need to re-listen to that. Oh no, they're just gonna get destroyed for this question.
You said it, because he's a better fit. He's the best man for the job. And there's no question about it. In my mind. And I've been around it a long time. Last coach I hired as an interim head coach was Bruce Arians. It was the right coach. So.
Yeah, he does have a
he's the
point.
best guy. That's why. I mean, there's no other mystery behind that.
Jimmy, what do you want to
Well,
say?
I mean, it would take me. I
respect
can talk about him, but I mean, first of all, he's extremely tough, and he's a leader. When you're looking for head coaches, leadership
Fucking bossing
is
this.
the number one thing. That's the number one thing, and that's also has a toughness level there. Highly intelligent. That's very important. You have to be a great thinker. You have to be able to work with people. You have to be open-minded. You have to create a culture where people trust you. You have to know the game. You have to have experience. You have to be able to draw on experience in your life to come forward and do what a head coach does in this league. It's very difficult. There's lots of coordinators that aren't good head coaches, it's certain people just have it. They have it, and and you see it when you know it, and it's brought with a lot of things that bring that to the table, but let's be very clear. This thing was driven by what Chris and I see in his excellence and his readiness and who he is. If he turns us down, we're not here today.
Oh my gosh, just calm down, journalists.
Sam will be the.
Everybody wants their breadcrumbs, man.
And Raymond will be still left tackle.
What do you want to say to fans, Coach, Saturday? It's been a crazy 8 weeks, and here we are. I mean, this is just.
Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the stream.
What do you want to say to fans? You and
Would appreciate it.
would say?
Yeah, I'm excited about the opportunity. I hope they are, right? I hope they know how much I care about this organization, about this community as a whole. I mean, my adult life was built here, and I don't diminish this opportunity even the slightest, even if it is for 8 games and everybody wants to run me out of town. Like, I believe that I'm called for a reason, and I would not have accepted it without that. And so I'm excited about the opportunity. I'm excited about working with those men in the locker room and the coaches here and building something special. Listen, I think it's hard work. There's nothing easy about it.
Joe Allen, I do agree with. I've said that a while. We should have gotten more Super Bowls when we had that team. I really wish we did, but hey, what's happened's happened.
20 years, man. I am who I am. I don't change. But
I don't know if we'll get somebody as good as Peyton and a wide receiver duo as good as Harrison and Wayne, and even tight end Clark.
I hold people
Again,
accountable. When I was a player, I held people accountable. And
don't know when we'll have 3 dudes
I'm
that
gonna
good
be
on
your
offense,
toughest critic, but I'm gonna be
along
your
with
greatest
Peyton
cheerleader.
Manning.
And I've
Someone like
always
Peyton
done
Manning
that. I've
ever
always
again,
believed in
so.
that, and that's the way I wanted to be coached, and that's how
We'll
I'll
see.
continue to coach. And
This spring, you said that when Matt Ryan came here, he was going to be the starter for 2 years.
They own the LA
maybe
Rams.
last
No, I did
7
not.
Games. Recently, he told ESPN that Frank Reich was safe, and that lasted 8 days. So why should Colts fans believe the promises you had about your head coach and your general manager?
That's a good question.
I've never hired a losing head coach. We're the 4th winningest team in the league. It's not about belief, it's about fact. What we've done, we're better than most all. It's that simple. Our record proves it over a period of time. So you don't have to believe much when it's there in black and white, you know.
What?
And the thing I'd say, you know, Al Davis has always been my biggest influencer in terms of football. I mean, Shula.
You don't have to believe me.
Graham, yes, but Al was always number one.
All right.
And if Al was here and you'd say, hey, Al, why do you think Jeff is going to be successful? He'd say 3 words. He's not scared.
Jeff, if you talk to
I hope. All that being said, I hope Jeff does a really good job. I always like Jeff Saturday.
no disrespect, but will you have to win over the locker room?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I got to earn it.
Coaching staff.
Yeah, everybody, not just
Of course.
players, coaching
It's a
staff.
bad question.
Staff.
Yes.
I mean, you got to earn your.
You have to
place.
earn everything
So,
that
yeah,
you
I
do.
have, I'm gonna walk in that
Oh.
room and. Here's a great part about the NFL, man. We're all on
Some
trial
people
basis,
do.
buddy. Ain't nobody. Only one.
That's
guy
how it
up here
should
is
be done.
secure, and he's in the middle, right?
Hey,
the rest
I
of
would've
us.
brought out a funny.
And the rest of us ain't
I've
safe.
seen some
So we.
Steven's going to give me a loan. He promised
Yeah.
that thing
So like make no mistake, yeah, you're going to earn it, and I hope that they understand. The expectation that I have from them is no different than the expectation I have from myself. I'm gonna be here, ready to work, shown up, prepared, be a pro's pro. That's my expectation of those, and I think that travels anytime in sport, man. I mean, listen, I've spent my life in a locker room. I don't think I'll have a problem, getting with guys, and if they see I'm authentic and I'm who I am, I think we do just fine together. They will not, they won't see a different version of who I am. I'm excited about it, man. I love the locker room. Ain't nothing more fun. It's the most transparent place you'll ever walk. I wish everybody in America spent time in a locker room because this is real as it gets.
And you guys missed one question for him.
Locker room is fun.
Since I'm answering, have you talked to
Locker rooms can be fun or they can be horrid. I've heard some horror stories. I've never been in a horrible locker room, but... Oh, shit. Okay. I felt like there was a couple more questions that I wanted to, be asked here. But, hey, Hey, they're done with the press conference. I mean, there's a couple questions in here. Although some of them are really, really obvious. I guess what we really wanted to know was why does Jeff Saturday doesn't have this? If he doesn't have the CV, he doesn't have the resume to be able to do this. And I've seen that Jeff Saturday might be the only. This might be wrong. I heard this from Ian Rappaport on Twitter, in a tweet he posted. Maybe this has been fact checked. I don't know because he wasn't even sure about it. But I think this may be the first head coach with no college or prior NFL coaching experience ever hired for a head coaching job. He's got a lot of faith, and I will say this: Jim Irsay's got some balls. Okay, he has some big dangly balls with this one. It is an interim. They did say we're not throwing in the towel. I am a bit nervous because, we're going to go through some growing pains. And you know what? At the end of the season, Jeff Saturday might not be the right guy. And if that's he might not be getting better. I don't think we're going to beat the Raiders. It would be very... with him not having any experience, he's going to get it. Hopefully he's a fast learner. He was a very good player. He knows the locker room. He knows how to keep guys together. He's a leader. I think those are all things that a lot of people know about Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday's been a really, really good Colt. He's disobeying Peyton Manning and he's finally calling the plays. But I can't lie. I think, honestly, why not? Because Frank Reich things had gone stale. They really had. if you saw my rant video where I was just fucking so mad, I listened to it back because I just went and posted it and I didn't even listen back to it. When I listened back to it, I was sounding like a madman. Some weird stuff was coming out of my mouth. I don't even know what I was saying half the time. I kept switching. I kept switching ideas in my head. But it's a good video to watch. Oh, god damn it. I hate, I wish I was actually able to get rid of like bots like this easily. Super annoying, man. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Yeah, just ban them. Oh, Mr. Wyatt, if you're still here, just ban that. But, I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I am nervous about what's going to happen. Things could go very, very badly. But, been a fan since 1971. Wow. That's impressive, man. That's cool. You've probably seen more than me. But this is like the weirdest appointment I've ever seen in the NFL. I watched a lot of football. Not as much as you, but I watched a lot of football. This is a strange one. And aside from our personnel is a different issue in and of itself. Of the talent that we have on our rosters. Interesting. Jameer started out good, but he's getting crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, right? We weren't going anywhere with Frank Reich anyway. It wasn't going anywhere with Frank Reich anyway. We needed a change. This is an interesting one. It's a massive change. If it doesn't work out, guess what? Who cares? If it doesn't work out, who cares? Because it wasn't going to work out anyway. Might as well try something. Maybe Jeff Saturday actually is a good coach in the making. And, he needed the opportunity, and he'll take it, and he'll run with it. And he'll prove everybody wrong, and he'll be able to go and tell all the journalists to go and fuck themselves. I hope that's what happens. I hope our offense really starts working. It's not going to start out great. We're going to have bumps. But I just want to see improvement. Decision-making getting better and better and better. Because that's what he needs to do. He needs to get better and better and better. He has a lot of games. He has 8 games to continue to get better, build some experience, build a resume as a head coach. And, if we're stuck with more bad performances under him, then we can take the offseason, get a new coach, new identity, get everything put in. If not, then we can give him the role. I know a lot of people, and I've seen, if you watch Pat McAfee show, it's a really good show. Love Pat McAfee, one of my favorite Colts ever. If you watch his show, when he had the journalist on, I forget what journalist he had on, that journalist, the sarcasm coming from that journalist was deafening. The most sarcastic stuff I've ever seen. Basically making fun of us. He was pretty much bullying at this point. He was just pretty much just making fun of us. Oh, with everything that came out of his mouth, and it was all extremely sarcastic. Even though the Pat McAfee show does hit on that sarcastic humor really, really well, it is interesting. You know what? Even though I am a bit worried about how this is gonna go, I really don't think it's gonna hurt much. Because if we're not good, then you know what? We weren't gonna be good anyway with Frank. So let's take a shot. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If it doesn't work and it goes really badly, we'll probably get clowned on from Jacksonville fans. Will be in here making, talking all that. Texans fans, Titans fans are. For the past, we haven't won the division in 9 years? I think it's been 9 years since we've seen division title banner raised in Lucas Oil. It's going to be a long time. It's been that long. It's been a very, very long time. I graduated middle school. I graduated high school. I'm halfway through college, and I haven't seen one. So, it's been a while. I am hopeful. I hope we can do something. We have hope for next year. Saturday will stay till year's end. It'll be better than what we have. We have to get a new human coach. Maybe the no former coach. Yeah, maybe. I actually think Jeff Saturday kind of has a good chance of hiring people to work around him well because he is well known around the league. He knows a lot of people. He probably knows some pretty talented people that I'm sure would love to work with him. They may bashfully getting better draft choices rebuild. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's my point. That's the point. I am not like a super football head when it comes to I'm not great with the X's and O's. I'm not great with the words and stuff, but I've been watching football for a long time. And I can tell when players are being good or being bad. Right? I can tell when we're going in a downward spiral or an upward spiral. It's pretty obvious. If you know the rules, I know all the rules of the game. It's pretty obvious when you can tell when things are going bad, especially when you're scoring 3 points against the Patriots. I hate the Patriots. We all hate the Patriots. And yeah, it was embarrassing. Last week was embarrassing. I was mad. Everybody was mad. But you know what? I think it was time to go. I don't think there's really much more to say than analyzing the questions. When I look at all the questions, I think there were some decent ones. And I think the decent ones, sadly, were the most obvious questions. Like, are you worried about his lack of experience, about who he knows about the lead, about him as a person? I think those are things that needed to get answered, but they were very obvious questions. They didn't dig very much deep. There were a couple of really tough ones in there. But, you know what? Oh, thank you. Thank you, by the way, for that. But what Jim Irsay did a lot during this press conference was talk about I have been successful in the past. We are one of the most successful franchises in the NFL when it comes to winning games, which he's right. We are in a privileged position when it comes to most teams. We win a lot more games for a lot longer than most teams. The last time Frank Reich hired an interim, it was one of the best interim coach hires ever when it comes to the talent. Bruce Arians, very, very good coach. Very talented coach. So he is pretty confident with what he's doing. It's a wild move, and I think this is going to be a move looked on in hindsight in the future. This is going to be a move where people say, Jim Irsay is insanely smart. He saw something that none of us saw. What an appointment, what a guy. I have to put my hands up. Or it's going to be a thing where after this season, everyone's like, I told you so, this was bad. What an embarrassing moment. Me, personally, at the end of the season, even if we lose all 8 games, honestly, I'm just going to be like, whatever, dude. Whatever. It was going to happen anyway. We needed something new. If it goes bad, it goes bad. It happens. We move on next season. Because this season hasn't been good. It's not like... we got shut out by Jacksonville. We had -2 yards after the first quarter. Like, there's a lot of problems. We need more fixes. Sadly, I would just say, I don't. This is a pretty bold prediction, but I think this team's Super Bowl window, unless we turn it around with Jeff Saturday, it's pretty much close, I think. I know we have talented players, but in the NFL, it goes quick. The NFL has an extremely high turnover rate. Players come and go. Some players like Kenny Moore can be a Pro Bowler one season and then be one season away from possibly next year, maybe not even getting his spot replaced by somebody else. Kenny Moore has not had a great season. I think a lot of our defenders, Franklin's been really good, Grover Stewart's been really good next to Buckner. Yannick Ngakoue's been pretty solid. Kwity Paye looks like he's getting better every game. And of course, Stephon Gilmore is one of the best in the league. We know that. We have a lot of good talent there. That talent's getting older. There's a high turnover rate in the NFL. You got to win when you got to win. And we had a good team for a couple seasons, but we were just one of the ones that never made it. There's a lot of teams who don't get talked about when other people are winning, who did good, just not good enough. Sadly, I hope that it hasn't. I hope we can make some changes in the offseason and get back on track. But it looks like the Super Bowl window that this team could have had might be coming to an end this season. We might have to revert back into a rebuild. I don't think they want to do it. I'm not saying that they want to do it. From everything they say, they obviously don't. So I can only go off of what they say. They say, we're not throwing in the towel this year. We don't give up. We don't want to give up. I don't know if it's close. We'll see. We'll see if our super window is close and we have to start retooling or rebuilding in the future. The Patriots were really good at this, right? The Patriots were dominant for so long, but people do have to remember they had Brady, and for a stretch in the middle between, at the beginning they won a lot of Super Bowls, and at the end of Brady's time they won a lot of Super Bowls. But in the middle, they had gaps. That's because of the high turnover rate in the NFL, where it is really hard to win a Super Bowl. It is really hard. One team gets it. One. It's really difficult. And I don't think a lot of people... If you look at other sports around the world, like you look at European soccer, there's a load of trophies that teams can win. There are 2 you can win in the NFL. The conference championship game and the Super Bowl. That is it. There are a total of 3 trophies given out. 3 every single season. And really the only one anyone cares about is the big one, the Super Bowl. That's the only one people give a shit about. And it's really hard to win it. Like I've always said, if you have a team that every decade you win at least one Super Bowl, you are a top franchise in this league. If you make the Super Bowl once every 10 years, you have a solid franchise. That is really, really good. It is extremely hard to do. Like, even making the Super Bowl in a decade is difficult. We haven't been there in a long time now, so, I mean. Has anybody ever told you like the NFL YouTuber RBT? I've seen RBT's videos. I don't know if I look like him or not. I mean, my face is like really weird because I have like an acne breakout. And I'm trying this like new acne cleansing shit. And it has like acid in it. And I just showered before I got on and did this. So my face is like really red. And it's recovering right now. But it's clearing up. I'm looking better. I'm looking fly. I'm looking good. I don't know if I look like RBT though, but you know, he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy. So yeah, that's enough for my ranting, I guess. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, thank you guys for watching the stream. I really appreciate it. Colts are a poverty franchise. Bro, I don't know if you should be... I don't think you should be commenting anything under anything with that username, dude. That's just kind of weird, man. I don't think you should be commenting anything with that username, buddy. You might need to change that. You're just a weirdo, bro. But yeah, we have been a very good franchise over the years. You know, I guess we can only trust what they say, and we can only hope. We're not in the locker room. We don't get to see what happens. We don't know all the problems. We don't know. We're not there. We can speculate. You can watch people who break down the film. We don't know all the problems. We don't know what happens in the player's life. We don't know how everybody interacts with each other. We just have to hope that we can figure it out, support our team through good or bad. We can criticize them. Absolutely, we can criticize the players for not playing well. But that doesn't mean that we go and say, oh, the Colts are bad right now, let's leave the team. I don't believe in that. You know, I'm going to watch every single game that I can. You know, I love the team. I've been here through good times. I was a kid when we won the Super Bowl. I remember when we won the Super Bowl in 2006, right? And you know, I remember starting 1-5 and making the playoffs and winning a playoff game year with Andrew Luck. Like, if I'm there, and I remember Reggie Wayne, T.Y. Hilton, Marvin Harrison, Dallas Clark, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, you know, Anthony Costanzo, Quentin Nelson, Shaquille Leonard. Like, I remember, I've seen these great, Joseph Adai. I've seen these great players. And there's been good times, there's been bad times. You know, we won in overtime against the Packers. That was fun. Carson Wentz single-handedly beating the Cardinals. I'm going to stay here. Just because we're doing something stupid doesn't mean that we go and to go leave teams or whatever. You know, I believe in sticking it with the end. You guys can do what you want. That's my beliefs, you know. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. I'm going to keep uploading. Me and my friends, we have a podcast called the All Chips and Podcast. We are going to be talking about this press conference and some other detail on there. The link's in the description to the podcast and the TikTok that my friend made for the podcast. We plan to have the episode... We plan to have the episode out tomorrow. Is what we hope to do. It's really fun. It's a really cool podcast. You know, we have fun. We're going to talk about, you know, Jeff Saturday, this press conference, Frank Reich and how it was going under him, and what the future is, and, you know, our opinions, all that stuff. And we want to hear from you guys. Tell me about your opinions. What do you think is going to happen to the Colts? Do you have any hot takes? Whatever. Bring it in. I appreciate everybody for watching and staying in the stream, you know. Thank you guys so much. And peace. Have yourselves a good one.